Hey guys, it's Jelly and guys a new video. So today I got a video on the Crucible talking about Destiny 2, and I'm gonna warn you guys from the beginning that I might go into a little bit of a rant, and some people might find this premature because obviously Destiny 2 is not out yet. But honestly, I just feel that there's some points and things that have come out now about information about Destiny 2 that kind of pisses me off a bit, just because I feel like obviously these problems were coming from Destiny 1, and in Destiny 1 I kind of give Destiny a pass because I said that on Destiny 1 I thought that it was going to be like a beta game basically, to where they can obviously use Destiny 1 and then they can compare it and see what they messed up and then obviously in Destiny 2 fix those problems. So the idea behind this video is basically the phrase "she's not that into you." So you know, sometimes when you're talking to someone, and this can be a guy or a girl, and maybe the girl is just not feeling you for some reason, maybe just personalities don't match, so she might just don't want to be mean to you, and she might not want to say to your face, "Hey man, you know what, I just don't like you." So she might try to give you some hints, maybe try to tell you that, hey, maybe this is just not gonna work out. But sometimes people just don't see those things, and I think that is kind of what is happening for Destiny and Bungie and us, the players. So I'm gonna give you some of the clues that Bungie kind of has hinted, I will say, and basically trying to tell the players that this is just not the way the game is gonna go. The first hint that I want to talk about is the fact that our consoles are gonna be stuck in 30 frames per second. Now I want to say something that I said yesterday in the video. This doesn't mean that Destiny 2 is gonna look bad in the console. I'm not saying that, because I get it. Destiny 2 is gonna look great in the console. It's gonna be on 4K if you got a PS4 Pro, and it's gonna run at 30 frames per second, which is obviously good. But I think that in 2017, a game that is a shooter, it should be running at 60 frames per second. It's just a better quality, and me personally, I will give maybe not having 4K but having 60 frames per second. If that means having I don't know, a 1080 resolution, I'll be fine with that instead of having a 4K, but in order to have a 60 frames per second. If you have ever played a game on 60 frames per second, especially a shooter, you can honestly feel the difference from going from 60 frames to 30 frames per second. So I think that is gonna be a big minus, especially for what they call quote-unquote competitive. Now some people can say that, hey, if you really care about 60 frames per second, just go play on PC, which I get it, is obviously an option, and I'm probably one of the persons that is going to do that. But it's kind of sad sometimes to lose, like, you know, friends that you have made for over years, and that is honestly a thing that is holding me back for saying I'm gonna play on PC every single day, is because basically my friends, it's like a relationship that I made already with people in the PS4, and I don't want to lose that. It's like already friends that I talk to almost every single day, and sometimes I have better relationships with them than I have with actual people that I actually met in real life. So that is the things that is kind of sad to say, that obviously PC is an option, but not everybody has the money to go into PC. So obviously if you go into PC and because of those 60 frames, more than likely you're gonna lose a couple of your friends. So that is one of the hints that I will say Bungie gave us. The second hint is the fact that there's not gonna be dedicated servers. Now this pisses me off way more than not having 60 frames per second, I will say it. And the reason for that is because I kind of feel betrayed in a way. Now obviously this is not said publicly, but everybody said that Destiny 1 was basically like the beta. It was where Bungie was finding out what things work for the game, what things doesn't work, and in a way I kind of was okay with that. I was like, okay, so there's gonna be kind of a beta test for Destiny 1, and then in Destiny 2 everything's gonna be fixed. And here's where the problem comes from. If you're gonna say to us that you're gonna fix this and you're gonna fix the Crucible specifically, you're gonna make it competitive, but then you don't give us some dedicated servers, like that kind of doesn't up. That's to me is like saying I'm gonna build a house, but I want to start with a roof. I'm not gonna start with the foundation. Like that's not gonna work. If you're gonna build the roof is gonna fall down. You don't have a house behind it to support it. So all those changes that they're making, as far as making 4v4 the new way that we're gonna play every single Crucible mode, having two primary weapons, making snipers and shotgun and fusions power weapons, like that doesn't mean anything to me if you don't have dedicated servers, because that's the thing that's gonna matter when it comes to lag in the Crucible. And that is the biggest problem that Destiny 1 had. The Crucible was broken because there was so much lag, and where people had a red bar, they were becoming Superman in the Crucible where no one can kill them. That was the reason why the Crucible was so bad in Destiny 1. And I'm sorry, but Destiny is a game that makes over $100 million only from microtransactions, and that doesn't include DLC or the game itself. But yeah, you can invest money on dedicated servers, and again, this is not something that's so out of this world. Like other games like Overwatch, Battlefield, they have those systems, And I'm sorry, but like I said, we invest so much money in this game that it doesn't add up for they not giving us something as easy as dedicated servers. Like I said again, other games give it to other communities, and this is because without dedicated servers, the belief that this is gonna be a competitive game that's just laughable. Like, this is not gonna happen. No one's gonna put money behind a game that has connection problems and the lag can dictate whether you win or you lose the match. Like, that is just not gonna happen. So that's the second clue, and the last clue and the final clue, and I found out about this yesterday, and this is even, I would say, even worse than not having dedicated servers, because this is kind of taking the game back. Like, it's not even going forward, just going backwards. And that is that there's not gonna be private matches when the game launches on September the 8th. They say that private matches are gonna be coming to the Destiny 2 that are in the work, but it's not gonna be on launch. And this gets to the point where I don't believe Bungie anymore. I'm sorry, but I spent around 3 years where I believe Bungie as far as making changes to the Crucible. Like, every single time that they put a freaking patch out there, they always say the same crap about, oh, we're changing the mechanics of matchmaking and that's gonna make lag go away, but it doesn't work. So now that they're gonna say to me that, oh, they're gonna change matchmaking again and the private matches are gonna be coming, like, that's just a bunch of, I hate to say that, a bunch of crap. I mean, that is so open. Like, when is it gonna come? Is it gonna come this DLC? Is it gonna come next month? Is it gonna come for a week from now? When Destiny 1 got private matches, that was like a, I would say, a work of the whole community asking for that. And even like, I would say, competitive gaming, just having tournaments. It was so difficult to have tournaments. Remember back in Destiny 1 before private matches, where basically you had to cross your fingers, launch at the same time, maybe have people that live close together, and maybe you can match into the same match. So I guess tournaments are gonna go back to that. And I'm not someone that I'm saying that, oh, I'm gonna be an MLG player, but I still think it's a part of the game that makes this game relevant. And what I mean by that is, think about the period between the Taken King and the Rise of Iron. Like, what was the thing that kept the game relevant? Because the Taken King got released on September 15th of 2015, and Rise of Iron came out a year later on September 20th of 2016. What is the reason why this game stayed relevant? What was the reason for this game to still be one of the top games on Twitch or in YouTube? What was the reason for that? The reason for that was not the freaking PvE. I mean, don't get me wrong, the Taken King was a great DLC, brought stories, brought strikes, but that doesn't last for a year. PvE, as far as missions, strikes, that gets too repetitive so fast. Even the raid, which is the biggest thing about PvE, people are not gonna do the raid for the whole year and say that, oh my god, you know what, I love doing the Taken King raid. The thing that kept this game relevant was the Crucible and things like Trials. Now, some people can say that, oh my god, this game is so focused on Trials and Trials this and Trials that. I know Trials has a lot of problems, but in a way, whether you like it or not, that is the reason why this game kind of survived this whole period of we having no information about what is going to be in the future. I mean, at some point, we kind of didn't know what is going to happen with Destiny after the Taken King. It got to a point where we had to wait like around 7 months for them to even say anything about the Rise of Iron, and the only thing that kept people playing the game was, like I said again, the Crucible. And to me, this is kind of like a backstab to players that kept this game relevant for so long, and now basically saying, hey, you know what, we're gonna change matchmaking settings and that is gonna help us with connections. I've been hearing that from Destiny 1, like I said already. And the thing that pisses me off even more is that in the livestream reveal, like, the word that you kept hearing was competitive. You use the word competitive to sell people that dream that the Crucible is gonna improve, but yeah, you don't give us the tools for that. You don't give us private matches, you don't give us dedicated servers, the game is not running at 60 frames per second. Like, that's the things that the game needs to be competitive. And I'm not talking about MLG right now, I'm just talking about like actually not just screaming to the screen where someone shoots you through a fucking wall. And that's what happens in Destiny 1. So if you're gonna keep this game a joke as far as the Crucible, like, just don't sell that. Don't sell to us, don't lie to us and say, oh, this game is gonna be competitive. Like, stop using that word. That word doesn't go with the Crucible and Destiny. So going back to the phrase of this video, she's not that into you, that's basically what Bungie's trying to say to us, is that they're just not that into making Destiny competitive. And I'm okay with that. If you want to sell a video game that is PvE mainly, and that the Crucible is just something in the side, I'm okay with that, it's fine. But I just hope that missions, strikes, and especially the raid can last as long as they want it to last. Because if the missions, the strikes, or even the raid, I will say, are similar to what they were in Destiny 1, that's not something they're going to spend 3 years playing. Because I hate to say it, the content of that PvE in Destiny gets repetitive too fast. So if that is the only thing you have to offer, I will be okay with just buying the game, not buying the DLC, not buying microtransactions, because honestly it's just a waste of time at this point. So I'm kind of changing my ideas of Destiny 2. So do I believe Destiny 2 is going to be a bad game? I don't believe that. I believe Destiny 2 is going to be a good game. I'm hoping that PvE is big enough to it doesn't become too repetitive, because me personally, I'm giving up on the Crucible. I don't think the Crucible is ever going to be what I want it to be. So putting time into the Crucible is not something that I'm looking for anymore. I feel that the Crucible is going to be as similar as to Destiny 1. It's going to have a lot of problems as far as with connections, because any online shooter that doesn't have the things that Destiny is missing are always going to have problems with connections, balance, and all those things. So if Destiny's not going to put the money and the time in giving us that, I'm also not going to put the time and money into playing it. So anyway, you guys, that's my opinion. If you guys got a different opinion, you guys can leave a comment down below. I would love to read it. If you guys like the video, please leave a like. If you guys subscribe to the channel, that means a lot to me. I hope you guys have a great day, guys. Take care, guys. Peace.